Okay, stand by here.
Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this second day of November. I got a great show with you planned for you all tonight. Deion Sanders, locker room rated. That's not the first time that's happened with Deion, and also we got a few more examples of that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, thoughts about tonight's game. Tonight's Tennessee-Pittsburgh big game on tonight. I'll give you my quick comments and predictions after the break. This week's games against the spread, I had some breaking news. Let's say it's breaking news. Something that kind of twisted one of my picks. I'll talk about that here in a second. Also, touch up on a little college football. James Harden trade. I know that happened a few days ago. Haven't really got a chance to comment it. I will comment on that tonight as well. Let's go ahead and get our first and only break out of the way. We'll hit the ground running here in 40 seconds on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then. Let's see, trying to clear out this screen. All right, okay, so tonight, Tennessee at Pittsburgh. Now, Tennessee seems like the more healthier team. Tonight, I was looking at that. Michael Fitzpatrick, Pro Bowl safety, does a lot for the Steelers. He's not going to play tonight. They do have Cameron Hayward back. That may help their run defense a little bit, but I noticed he's not listed as a starter. I don't know if they're trying to get his reps up. He's been out for quite a while. Defensive tackle. Also, what was I going to say about this particular game here? Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, he's supposed to be standing beside Mike Tomlin on the sideline so Mike can keep his eye on him instead of calling the game from up above. There's a lot of tension with Pittsburgh right now. That really has thrown me off here. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Tennessee actually upsets these guys 20-16. They, like Richard said yesterday, Tennessee hadn't went up there in 8 times. They're a little bit more of the fresher team. Not enough tape out on Will Levis in this particular game. Could go the other way. You got T.J. Watt there. He could cause Levis to fumble the football there. But I'll say this: there's a lot of tension there with Matt Canada, the fans of Pittsburgh. If Tennessee wins, which I got a feeling they're going to win, that's why I said I think they'll win 2016 outright. I think they'll probably fire Canada and name him interim offensive coordinator. After this game, it's really getting that. That was kind of weird, Pickles. I couldn't believe that they. I've never heard of a head coach make the offensive court. Maybe he's wanting to do that. I doubt it. I think Tomlin's doing this. I think he's saying, "Listen, man, you're calling certain plays. I don't want you to call them. Be close here. We'll stay in hindsight." There's no explanation why he wants Canada sitting beside him. As I said the other day, a couple weeks ago, the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins were fans were shouting "Fire Canada" the other day. I've watched some "Fire Matt Canada." There were some pictures of some signs in pregame that I saw on the internet earlier, just a little while ago. So I think that could be. Plus, I don't know what percentage Kenny Pickett's going to be playing at. And Tennessee, like I said, other than Sam Hubbard, they're relatively a heck of a lot more healthy. Cal Phillips, Okonkwo, I expect him to have a pretty good game tonight. You know, with Fitzpatrick being out, he is asked to do more than most safeties. Pittsburgh gave up a lot to get Michael Fitzpatrick, and rightfully so. He's a big-time playmaker. He's a poor man's Troy Polamalu. I just got that feeling. Titans, they had the bye last week, played really well. Just think they're going to win this game and get this upset. Could be wrong. Could go the other way. But they could very well knock him out of the game. So that being said, yeah, I think Tennessee actually upsets Pittsburgh tonight. 2016. We'll see. We shall see. Owoku Saki. Okay. All righty then. A few other things here. Wow. Yeah, I just don't know where else to start at, folks. I guess this story here. I've got some college stories here. This is a good story here. Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary is with the Green Bay Packers. He's a defensive end here. He was a former first-round pick for the Packers. He had re-signed with the Packers. He signed an extension with them. And I want to say it was one day, either early this week or late last week, kind of fell under the radar. It's 4 years, $96 million, $34 million guaranteed at signing day. And I thought to myself, Gary is well of a player. I watched this guy come out of college. He was went to Michigan. He was the number one player out of high school. He was a big pickup for Jim Harbaugh. And I got a quick statement about Jim Harbaugh here in a minute. Looks like the Big Ten coaches, by the way, had a meeting and they want something done now about Jim Harbaugh. It seems like there's a lot of envy, a lot of frustration with Harbaugh on this situation with the spying of the play calls and everything. But going back to Gary, Rashawn Gary, I remember him. There was this documentary on Netflix called All or Nothing. And this guy's mom's meeting up him. He's from New Jersey. His mom's visiting with him during the week. They're sitting at a Red Lobster. And, she's giving him some advice. One of the scenes here, All or Nothing, great docu-series. It's a great docu-series that goes through. They have it with college and pro. For those of you watch this Amazon series, really good. They'll follow a college team, which I think Michigan was the only college one. They do some soccer teams too. They've done the Cowboys, Arizona. It's really good. And it goes through the whole season. I think that it was so good that they do 2 Hard Knocks now. They used to do just one. It would be a preseason Hard Knocks, and then they would be done, But now they do, and I haven't read anything about them doing it this year. I bet they will. It'll be this month here in November, right? They follow the team in season. But this All or Nothing, they follow them throughout the last season, very end, into the preparation for the next season, and then they go throughout that particular season. This was going back in 2018. Him and 19 years old. 19 years old, freshman, got a lot on him, and it looks like that he was having some trouble in one of these classes, and I thought his mom is going to probably get onto him about one of his classes he's involved in. And that's not the case. Listen up here. It's interesting stuff here. This is Jennifer. Make sure I got her name right. Jennifer Conley Shepard. That's his mom. Apparently she had remarried, and she's given Rashawn Gary now, who just signed a major extension here with the Packers, some advice back in college. Thought this was really interesting. Listen up.
Do you see that you changed a lot since you came to college?
Oh, no. I don't think so, because it's like I'm me every day. Like, I don't get a chance to, like, step away from me and, like, see how I grew.
You have to take time for Rashawn. I understand school, that's important. I understand football, that's important. But Rashawn, you're 19 years old. Okay? To me, you're just a kid. You can't throw your teenage years just grinding. I gotta get my hair done. I gotta get my face done. I gotta get my feet done. You gotta take care of yourself. I have 2 kids. I have a full-time job. I went to school full-time. I made sure we was up at 5 o'clock in the morning? Went to work, went to class, came back and picked you and your friends up. I was exhausted every day, but I made sure that everything was taken care of, but I also made time for myself. It's called time management, buddy.
I just love that advice, from somebody who's worked just around the clock. Sometimes I do. And that advice here, it goes on to talk about some trouble with the guy's dad. He knows his dad, but not very close. And I later read that Conley, his mother was so dedicated into his life in his football career as a teenager. This was when he was number 1 player going to in the country, going to Michigan. She was actually the PA one time because they didn't have anybody. The announcer for the game, I guess you want to call it, because they couldn't find one, and she helped call the game from high school. And a lot of kids would get embarrassed by that, but she did that. And I tell you, that is some of the best advice that I can give anybody from somebody who's burnt out, that you have to take time for yourself in life and pace yourself. And pace your, I'll tell every younger person, I mean, I've got some age on me now, but I'm still 40. I mean, whatever. That success is a marathon. A lot of people, myself included in the past, I think we get burnt out on things, and we get burnout. We get burnout mixed up with, I don't really want to do this anymore. And really all you needed was to pace yourself a little bit better. Okay. Take some youth time, enjoy yourself. I thought that was an amazing quote. I remember seeing, I thought, man, this woman really knows she's like a psychologist. She's like Phil Jackson out there, people don't realize that to be successful at a high level like that, there's a lot of guys. You say, well, he's big at a genetic slaughter. That's part of it. I drive around downtown Nashville. I lived in New York City. I've lived on the South. I've lived in the West for a little while. I've seen a lot of guys, Rashawn Gary's size, and not a lot of them are playing in the NFL and making that kind of money. It takes a dedication. This woman was dedicated her life to this guy, but she talked about that time management. It's one of the key things, and I've never heard that growing up talking to other coaches and stuff and mentors. I never that you hear stuff like pay yourself first and all that. My dad would tell me that, but you have to let the mind rest and take me time out. But she knew how hard he was working. This guy didn't do a lot of going out and partying and all that. I mean, she had a strict regimen for him, but she also told him, "Hey, you got to take some personal time out." So I really think that he is. That is a great story, man. I tell you, and that is some great advice by Mama, Mr. Jennifer Rashawn Gary's Jr.'s mother there. Good stuff there. And as far as the team, I mean, they got problems here, they're going to have to get a quarterback, but I just like that. I like that particular storyline there. Packers got a good player there in Gary there. Okay. So anyways, I guess what? I'm going to go to picks of the week here. Now, last week, folks, I want to say that I only missed on one game. And I want to say that was actually, I missed on two, excuse me. I had Baltimore last week, but I did not have the points there. I want to say that was about 8.5, that one, and I didn't have Houston. But I had the Saints. I knew the Saints had a desperation game. Got the big road win there over Indianapolis. All right. Had Detroit on Monday night. I didn't know that the Raiders were going to fire their coach, but I had Detroit at home on Monday night, covering that 8.5. All right. And let's see. I want to say I had Dallas. I mean, Dallas destroyed the Rams off their bye week. And so that was that 4-1 there, actually. 3-2, excuse me. 3-2, because like I said, that Ravens, they did not cover that full 8.5, and I thought that they would. I thought that they would and didn't there. Okay, now speaking of Green Bay, this morning when I woke up early, I done this, and I had Green Bay definitely covering that 3 points against, the Rams covering that 3 points against Green Bay. That being said, okay, that is not the case this week. Matt Stafford didn't practice today, folks. I was for sure that he was going to be fine. I'm a little worried about that. He's an older player. He may have got blasted in that game, thumb injury. So I decided to go ahead and take that one. It says Matt Stafford thumb was a non-participant, according to Sarah Bishop. He still may practice tomorrow, and they go up there, Green Bay, and beat the Packers and cover there. But a little concerned about that. I may regret this, but I'm actually going to take instead of that particular game, I'm going to take Houston. I think Houston against Tampa at home. I think Tampa's offense is dismal. I think that even though, like I said, Houston cost me last week, I believe that Mayfield, he's not going to be their quarterback. I'll put it this way, and I made this prediction last week that Taylor Heinicke would take over for Ritter. Now, Taylor Heinicke, I'm going to talk about here in a minute, he's already going to be playing. Okay, Ritter's not the guy in Atlanta. Heinicke's going to – here's another one for you. Cal Trash, there's a good chance. There's a good chance that he'll be playing – he'll be starting next week or whenever Tampa's next game is. He'll be starting for them their next game. I think Mayfield, they're going to get frustrated with Mayfield. I do think that Houston – will probably beat them 23-16. It's in Houston. Houston's coming off a loss. Tampa's coming off a loss. The problem is Mayfield is he is degressing. He is degressing, as the quarterback there. He's looking like the Mayfield that I know from Cleveland. Okay. Can't get the ball downfield. He struggles with that second read. There's a little confusion with his reads, I've noticed with him. And their running game is just not there with Rachaad White. So I think Houston will beat them in Houston, okay? I think they will beat Tampa in Houston, and I think there'll be a quarterback change next week. There'll be a quarterback change next week in Tampa. That is my prediction for that particular game. I was going to go with the Rams, but now I'm concerned about Stafford. Really thought he was going to play. If they put one of these older quarterbacks in there, I'm not so sure about that. They'll probably still beat the Packers. The Packers are going to probably have to go back to the draft boards with the drawing board with Jordan Love and the draft board unfortunately for Green Bay fans. They're not going to get the 3 for 3, folks. I thought they were. Maybe not a star like Aaron Rodgers with the Packers, or not a star like a Rodgers or Brett Favre, but a consistent starter there in Jordan Love. But he's another guy that his numbers are decreasing. Over the last few games, they've got one of the worst offenses in the league, folks. I mean, they have really – I know Bakhtiari's been out, but they still got a relatively healthy team, and he seems to be going in the other direction as well. 3 years in the system, offensive-minded head coach. There's a lot of frustrating things going on with the Packers right now, you know. But we'll see. We'll see. But, I mean, if he does play, I could see Puka Nacua having another really good game and winning 27-19. But, again, with Stafford being out, possibly being out, him not practicing today, that is pretty concerning for me. Okay. So I wanted to get that one. Now let me get back here to the other games. Okay. Minnesota would plan at Atlanta. All right. I just mentioned earlier this week, you know, Kirk Cousins done for the season. He's done. He has torn his Achilles, and the Vikings have traded for Josh Dobbs. He's not going to play Sunday. It's going to be a rookie, a fifth-round, third-string quarterback. Nick Mullins is on IR, by the way. This Jalen Hall will be starting for the Vikings, who still have a bad defense. We know they beat the Bears, but the Bears are also in bad shape. The whole division's in bad shape, except for Detroit, right? But Jalen Hall, rookie, will start on the road against Atlanta. Now, Atlanta's defense is good at home. You know, they're really good at home. They did lose to the Commanders, but other than that, they're pretty resilient. Heineke's a much better quarterback than Ritter. Heineke, pretty solid starter with the Commanders under Ron Rivera. Now with all these weapons and an Arthur Smith and a week to plan, I think they're going to cut. It's a 4.5-point spread here, folks. I think Atlanta will bounce back. That they'll bounce back and win by 24-17. They will beat Minnesota in Atlanta. They'll beat Minnesota in Atlanta. They're going to throw all kinds of weird looks at this rookie here from the Vikings, getting his first start on the road. Atlanta's defense is probably going to be a big play there, Pickles, on fantasy this particular week. I love this week for the Falcons. Got some pressure on Arthur Smith. He's going to need to win. I said that Atlanta will find a way to get in the playoffs because they have such a good team. I mean, one of the easiest schedules. It's easier than the Eagles' schedule last year. The Eagles, 32nd. But the Eagles play great, though. If we found out, the Eagles are pretty freaking good, and they got a big one. I'll talk about that one tomorrow. Eagles-Cowboys with Carlos Mad New Yorker Chavez. Side note for that game, I'll break that one down tomorrow with Carlos Mad New Yorker. Cowboys have won 7 out of 10. I still may take the Eagles, but I didn't realize that. Fox Sports put that out this morning. I thought, man, they won 7 out of 10. So Dak is real comfortable playing against the Philadelphia Eagles, but this is in Philly, and they're pretty good and they're pretty healthy as a whole. But like Atlanta at home, they're going to cover that 4.5. They're going to beat the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, now just mentioned the Vegas Raiders. This is my other game. Man, I mean, Vegas, they fly to Detroit Monday night, lose the game. Mark Davis doesn't fire officially the general manager and the head coach. We find this out after midnight in the rest of the world. Here in the Central Time Zone, 1 o'clock in the morning in the East. You wake up in the morning like it's Christmas Day if you wanted Josh McDaniels gone, and Mark Davis fires him. He fires them. And you stick Antonio Pearson here. And now Aiden O'Connell, another rookie who had he was great in the preseason. His first game, he was terrible. He's going to be starting against the Giants. And Daniel Jones, Pickle says he probably fired him off the plane. I think maybe I watch a lot of Winning Time. I just got this vision of him he's sitting there playing one of these slot machines like he was in the airport the other day, Mark Davis. And he's got to thinking, man, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with these guys. I mean, it feels like it was very knee-jerk reaction in the middle of the night like that. But now Antonio Pierce, former Giant is going to be the interim coach against the New York Giants. Okay. And I want to say that the Giants are 1.5 underdogs. Giants are better on the road. Giants defense has not been that bad. They're going against a team with a whole new coach, whole new game plan, who took over Tuesday night, midweek, and everything's going to be vanilla. Offensive coordinator. So I don't know what's going to happen here. Maybe everybody shows up, plays well, but you know what the Giants are going to do. The Giants are still trying to be somewhat competitive, even though I know they traded, Lawrence Jones or whatever. They traded one of their defensive tackles for a second-round pick, moved him to Seattle, But I think they get that 1.5 in Vegas. They're going to have a lot of fans there. I think the Giants get that, and they beat the Raiders, They're going to have Jones back. It's not going to be the prettiest game in the world. 2017 Giants, Brian DeBall wants to keep this team competitive. Mathematically, they're still in it. They beat the Giants, and they're underdogs, Pickles. Yeah, 1.5. Giants will win. And they do. They play better on the road when there's no pressure on them. I don't know what it is. Not always. Sometimes they get smoked on the road. They got smoked down in Miami, but, man, they had tackles and everything out. They're relatively healthy, including Daniel Jones back. That Raider defense got more holes than a golf course in it from linebacker, safety, that back end there. Jones is going to have plenty of room to run other than Crosby, getting around Crosby. I think they're going to have a really good game plan. They're going to have some fans in the stands. They always do in Vegas. And I expect them to win that game and get back in the winner's seat here. The New York Giants will get the W. They bounce back from their overtime loss to the intercity rival Jets here, playing the same stadium. Okay, this one's interesting. Now, we will be talking about this game tomorrow. Cincinnati-Buffalo. Now, we saw how good Cincinnati looked last week, coming off their bye week. They handled San Francisco. They handled San Francisco as I predicted, but they won by 2 touchdowns. They beat the 49ers there. They were underdogs. I said take them. They would beat them. The healthiest they've been all year. They're actually just 1.5-point favorites. Now, the Bills, they're playing Buffalo. They'll be playing Buffalo at home now. Last time these two teams played in Cincinnati, Damar Hamlin, he had the heart attack. We all freaked out. It was on Monday night. They stopped the game just 1 year ago, but they still have their who's it, Milano? Man, he's done. He's done for a while. That's their main linebacker. They've got a tackle out. They got Tre'Davious White. Not even sure if they'll have Douglas here, Rasul Douglas from the Green Bay Packers. I don't even know if he's going to be activated this week. It's at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a 1.5 favorite. I like Cincinnati. I like Lou Anarumo. I like the fact that line is playing well. I like that 116 plus quarterback rating of Joe Burrow. And also, there's tension. I've told you all this before. There's tension in the locker room in Buffalo between there's tension between Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. There's tension with the fan base and Sean McDermott. He's starting to get this blame. I made this last year. I pointed this out. I think they didn't fire him last year because of the Damar Hamlin situation, and it was a lot on them. They have played good in one game, although they have lost to Jacksonville. They lost to New England. We've seen that New England is reeling right now. And I think they'll lose to Cincinnati. And I do not think that Ed Oliver now Ed Oliver will be back, but I don't think it means any difference. They had a lot of these guys got back last year, and they went up to Buffalo with the injured offensive lineman and beat Buffalo. So they beat them by 17 points, 27-10. Worst loss in a while against Buffalo with Josh. Only worst loss they had than that was the COVID year when Buffalo went on the road to Tennessee, and Tennessee hammered them. But they had a big scheduling conflict. That was a COVID thing and all this. But other than that, that was the worst loss they've had since Allen's been the quarterback. They're going to get revenge, want to get revenge. But, hey, guess what? Cincinnati, fully healthy. They're trying to get their footing. They know how good the Ravens have been playing. They know that they're in a very tight division. Everybody has a winning record in that division. If I'm not mistaken, it's the highest winning percentage division in the league. Cincinnati wins. They win, So Allen's going to be under. There could be a blow up. I could see Stephon Diggs being sent home after this. I can see some type of drama coming about in this game between Diggs and the team. I just see that. I do think that this team, I think the McDermott could be in trouble after this year. I really do. They're going to have to get an offensive mind ahead. They need a Gary Kubiak type of guy. Get that running game going. I've been saying that all season. But we'll see. I'm definitely confident that, they're going to cover that 1.5. 27. What did I put here? What did I put here in the – let me see. Games against the spread. 27-20. Bengals went outright 27-20 and put the Bills back another game. And we will continue. So – I think Miami will probably still be in first place in the AFC after this weekend. I'll just put it at that. Okay. Been high on Baltimore since they beat Detroit like that. Baltimore leads the league in sacks. Lamar Jackson playing his best football. He's a better player now than he was in year 2 when they were 14-2. More of a gimmicky offense. Now it's more of a traditional offense. they're looking to get Odell Beckham involved. I heard that the other day. Seattle, I like what they did. They went and got Leonard Williams, but Seattle, they flown to Cleveland. No, they didn't. They flown to Cincinnati, lost there, went back. Should have lost to Cleveland, but I said they would win. They figured it out. Tough game, physical game. Beat Cleveland, excuse me. I thought they would. E.J. Walker, I think screws it up right at the very end. Now they had to go back on the road and then play at the Baltimore Ravens, and they're 6-point underdogs in an early start time. As I said last week, Lamar was 15-1. Lamar was 15-1 against NFC teams. Then he won. He beat Arizona last week. They won by a touchdown. So now they're going back home, and I think he's 16-1 now. He's going to be 17-1 after Sunday. It's early start time. Why you keep saying that? Because the defenses are just a tick off. Gus Edwards, he's back practicing. He had a great game last week. I guess that Jim Harbaugh thought maybe, or John, the Broder brother, John thought, well, listen, guys had a physical game, but went all the way to Phoenix. He gave some guys a few days off, and a lot of those players are already back. Bronny Stanley back practicing. Gus Edwards had a really good day the other night. 2 or 3 touchdowns against Arizona last week. So they go to Geno Smith is going against a really good defense there, and that offensive line is going to get manhandled by that Baltimore pass rush. Baltimore wins and covers 27-16. 27-16. 2 or 3 turnovers by Geno Smith, and these guys, this Raven team will get another win there and still be in first place there. So, like the Ravens -6. Let me go back over this again, okay? The Ravens -6, and let me make sure. And of course, Atlanta -4.5. And again, Giants are underdogs. I like them to get the outright win over the Raiders. And of course, Cincinnati. I mean, they're only a 1.5 favorites. I'll take that. Cincinnati's playing great. That feels like the play of the week right there for me. I mean, maybe the Ravens, but yeah, I looked at some other games. Arizona at Cleveland. I understand that, but I'm not sure what the quarterback situation is going to be in Cleveland. Maybe Watson plays, maybe he don't. I don't know how Stefanski is managing that, so I went with the Baltimore, the team that's playing really well against Seattle at home. Okay, I've been wanting to talk about this other story since Monday, but we've had so much going on. I just didn't get a chance to talk about it, folks. Okay, Deion Sanders, close game. Give them credit. UCLA is really good at home. They were playing in the Rose Bowl. Didn't cover that 14.5. Colorado played them strong, contrary of what everybody's saying. But Deion Sanders here, man, he says that jury was stolen. Jury was stolen out of the locker room, okay? And, there's a couple of different ways to look at this. You could say, well, a few angles here. Okay, for one thing, let me play the soundbite real quick. All right, here's Deion after the game.
Our kids got robbed during the game last week. I think that's a travesty, and I would expect the NCAA to do something about that.
These are college kids. I'm pretty sure they don't think about insurance at this point, at this juncture in their life. We've talked about NILs and how to really maintain their finances. We've pretty much given them financial planners and giving them the resources for that. But the insurance part of it, we slipped, and we didn't really educate them on that. So I wish, I know the kids would be forthright in what was stolen, and some of our just staff members as well. And now all that stuff should be replaced. This is the Rose Bowl. He said the granddaddy of them all, right? I'm sure the granddaddy has some money.
Yeah, you got to get better security. I actually do believe him. That is some interesting stuff. Okay, now this has happened to him at Jackson State. Listen to this. A few years ago.
After Advil.
Well, it's on YouTube, and there's a cheesy Advil commercial there. As soon as we get done with that commercial, I'll play it real quick. This is at Jackson State 2 years ago.
God bless you. Appreciate you and everything. I'm pissed off right now because I had mixed emotions. We won. The kids played really well. While the game was going on, somebody came in and stole every darn thing I had in my locker room. Oh my God. Yeah. Credit cards, wallet, watches. Thank God I had on my necklaces. How? So when I talk about quality, raising standards, that goes for everyone, man. Not just the people on the field, not just the coaches, not just the teachers, not just the faculty, but that's everybody, security in everybody. So how do you think it feels coming back after just teary-eyed because the guys that presented me with the game ball, one of the best moments I've ever had in my professional sports career emotionally. And then you go into your locker room, the coach's office to digress, and you notice that you don't even have a phone. They call you mama, they call you girl, they call you your kids because it's been stolen.
And I'm not laughing at the fact that people's got. Listen, folks, my freshman year at Austin Peay, my freshman year, and that's a good point, Pickles. And I'm gonna keep that comment up there because Jason Whitlock had a really good statement on this. Busted my rear end off my freshman year. I was really tuned in around this time that year. Well, a little bit later because it was in December. It was just before winter exams, just about to be done with that fall semester. And the week of exams, I come back in on a Sunday night. And these kids that roommate that we knew they did it. We knew they did it. They slid up under the restroom and stole my stereo, had a little Dreamcast, stole a keyboard so we had to call the police. And I looked at the cops. I said, they did it, and they couldn't prove stuff. And they took down all this information. Those kids ended up getting kicked out, but we never got our stuff back. Thought about quitting school, but doing really well, kicking butt for the first semester. Got my private room with a lock on the door that next year, and I didn't have any more problems at Austin Peay. Okay, but the second time, you kind of got to give it on the coach. You kind of got to give this thing on the coach. Listen, that being said, I don't know why these locker rooms, college or pro, do not have lockers. I've seen some of these documentaries like All or Nothing, Hard Knocks. You see the locker room spaces. The locker rooms seem to be opened. Jerseys, stuff there's not a closed lock on there. reason why I'm saying, Tom Brady's jersey has been stolen twice. His jersey back in 2016 Super Bowl, where they big comeback against Atlanta in Houston, Texans. Long story short with that, it was stolen. We've later found out by Mexican journalists from the international media. Guy stole that jersey, was worth $500,000. Another collector saw it from the guy who was trying to sell it, turned it in. The guy quit. He resigned from his job. And then a few years later, his jersey got stolen again from Gillette Stadium. Now, that guy got charged. 33-year-old. I don't know if he worked for – I don't know what happened with that one. But that guy that stole Tom Brady's $500,000 jersey worn in the comeback against Atlanta, he gets the jersey back. That guy, then they found in the same guy's house, the authorities in Mexico, FBI got involved. It was a big felony. The same guy, Mexican journalist, stole Von Miller's helmet from this Super Bowl before. He stole his helmet where Von Miller won the Super Bowl MVP. And that was worth some money. Miller says, I didn't even realize it was gone until later on. I mean, they done won the Super Bowl, and it had some knocks on it. He was playing great. Von Miller was. So I guess this can't happen, man. But you see these guys, they're on such pedestals. It's the most popular sport here in America. It's around the world. But that journalist stole that stuff. But you would think that Deion would have a better understanding of this stuff since it happened before. Listen to what Jason Whitlock said about this. Pretty interesting stuff. Now, it may take me a second to find it because I had it on my Twitter here. I retweeted it, and I saved it. But I will get that. I will get it here in just a second as soon as this stuff rolls up here, because I wanted to get it here. Whitlock had a really good comment there, or maybe I emailed it to myself. Let me check and see. Good stuff though, really good stuff here. Coach Sanders. No, it's not on that one. Pretty sure it's on one of my deals here, but that is a good point. I mean, you put that flash out there, there's a lot of envious people, folks. Things are going to happen, but there've got to be better security like that in the locker room, and they need actual lockers where you lock the stuff up. I don't think they have actual lockers. I think there's too much of a trust. Somebody that's had to break their back for everything, that's been robbed and stole stuff from me before. The stuff I had wasn't even that much money. I mean, it was used. That was a stereo I got from like Walmart or something. But the kid, I remember one of the guys said, "Man, why don't you sell that to me?" I said, "Nah, I like it. Listen to it." Stole my CDs and stuff. But Whitlock had a really good and of course, I probably won't be able to find it now that I'm looking for it. I can check it one more time and see while we're looking here. While I'm sitting here talking to you all about it. Congratulations, Bruce. By the way, Bruce Bochy, 4-time World Series. The sixth manager in MLB history to win 4 trophies, and with 2 different teams too. With that, so. With Texas manager there. I just now noticed that. But, so Whitlock here had some interesting takes on this. But, of course, now I can't find his bite. I hope he didn't take it off. But we'll see. He was saying basically, listen, man. He was saying you put your he said he puts that on basically. He's putting it on Deion. Like you said, you put that flash out there. He's like, you invite all these rappers and all that stuff. Might not be the rappers that are stealing from the kids, but it may be part of their entourage that are stealing from these kids. And that is he's got a point there. I can't find the bite. He's got a point there. Okay. That's something that Deion's going to have to deal with. All that promoting, all that flash and everything. And that's the downside to that. And the fact that it's happened before, man, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? So, anyways. All right. Now, I had to skip what? It's a good bite, too. Oh, well. All righty, then. I thought I had some more stuff here. Deion's retweet from yesterday, and I just can't find them, mother effer. College notes here. Oklahoma's coming back down to, I want to see Oklahoma coming down to earth a little bit, losing to Kansas. You know, folks, I don't know who the best teams are. I think it may go with my original prediction that it may be very well Alabama. I mean, I like Alabama this week. I mean, LSU can't stop a nosebleed. They're playing this week, you know, and I thought that may be a big game. But now the fact that it's at Alabama, they're going in one direction. LSU's defense just not there. I like them to get this win. I want to say Georgia may get pushed against Missouri. Tennessee, they may get pushed there. I got a feeling it's going to be kind of like what it has been, Alabama and Georgia. Was it 4 of the last 5 years? And I feel like Alabama's inching towards being the better team without Brock Bowers, Georgia. Not so sure, although they played well down the stretch against Florida. I could see that. Now, this Michigan thing, I mentioned this earlier. Big Ten coaches wanting the Big Ten to do something with Jim Harbaugh. They wanted the Big Ten to do something with Jim Harbaugh. Nothing else has came about that story. Usually investigations like this go into the next season. So we've got Penn State coming up with Michigan. And, of course, we've got the big one coming up Thanksgiving Day weekend, Ohio State at Michigan. And then we're going to get the playoff. This is really paving the road for Michigan to win out, go out on top, and for him to maybe take that Bears job. The Bears, I think Eberflus is gone at the end of this year. Okay. I think Ron Rivera will be gone at the end of this year. I said McDaniels will probably get canned, but I wasn't sure. But that was a preseason thing, right? Well, I was right about that. Fired him on Halloween night, middle of the night there. So the Bears with 2 possible number 1, number 2 picks here. Okay. 5-year player there with the Bears. Remember that he's a quarterback there. They may make him an offer he can't refuse. They may make Harbaugh an offer he can't refuse. And the Chargers may. Now, this guy's pretty cheap, this owner. There's a lot of great coaches that would take that Charger job. He would love that. Ideally, that would be the better job for him. Now, he's got some experience lived out west. He used to be San Diego State coach. Harbaugh was, I think it was his first head coaching job. Then Stanford. Then he went to, where did he go after that? 49ers? Yeah, 49ers. And then, of course, went to Michigan. Runs hot. Wears his welcome out. Very intense. So if he did go to the Bears, maybe it would be for 4 or 5 years. But if he got them 2 first picks, he's got more money than Tennessee. Tennessee's second, like 94, 95. They're going to have over $100 million in cap space there. They'll probably move off Fields, I would imagine. And Harbaugh, with all his knowledge of the college, I can see that coming to fruition, possibly, especially if there's some kind of hammer laid down. We talked about the accusations of the guys filming it with the cell phone. Is supposedly one of those things. The more you reveal it, it looks like it's worse than what it originally was. Of course, he's denying it, but that's one to play out. That's really one of the bigger stories of the college game. And Paul Feinbaum said something about it, that he couldn't believe that the NCAA is dragging their feet like this on it. But I would hate to have that happen. We know they're a really good team. They had Blake Corum come back. This quarterback here, Corum could have went to the NFL, running back. They haven't really been tested this year, but they got the only person they lost was their center, and they've replaced him. So we'll let this thing play out and see how it goes. Okay. NBA, I haven't forgot this. Okay, James Harden. Now, the James Harden trade here. Of course, I had the details on my big tablet, and I forgot to turn the thing back on. Harden. Now, the Clippers, they seem like they've got Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook. Okay, all of them a little bit past their prime. Remember, Harden and Westbrook used to play together back, 12 years ago now, Pickles? 12 years ago? They used to play together at the Oklahoma City Thunder. And, boy, he was great off the bench, man. Sixth man of the year. I look up, Sam Presti moves him to Houston, ironically, with Morley. Whatever his name. Daryl Morey, excuse me. To Daryl Morey's. Now, the first game there, they lose. They snapped their 11-game winning streak. Was snapped by the Lakers. Was it last night? The Lakers beat them. They remind me a lot of that 2000 Portland Trailblazer team, and I'm trying to get their roster up here. A little bit sideways today, folks. While that's loading up here. As I told you over the summer, I know they had a really good team with Houston when you had Chris Paul there and Harden there. Had a shot to knock out that really good Golden State team. But, not really sure if anybody can make it work. Ty Lue did. Going back. Okay, now, like I said, let me see the actual details of the trade here. Okay, Sixers trade Harden to the Clippers. Tucker and Flip Percival, some guy I never heard of, for Marcus Morris, Robert Covington. Covington used to play with the 76ers at the beginning of this air quote process thing. Used to play him on fantasy. So Nick Batum, KJ Martin, a 2028 unprotected first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, 2029 draft swap, an additional first-round from a third-team sources confirmed, and not bad there. So if you really look at this thing, so like I said, you got Harden, Paul George, Terrence Mann. They kept Terrence Mann, Kawhi Leonard, and Zubiak there, and PJ Tucker, who's a really good defender. I hear maybe he's going to help out on defending a Joker when they play a Portland team. And then you're looking at a lot of out and maybe question marks on some of these players, and that's been the story of the Clippers, right? Between Paul George and, of course, Kawhi Leonard. But this team reminds me of that 2099, 2000, for some of you historians here. And, of course, and I mentioned guys like Nicholas Batum and of course, who was it that went over there to I've accidentally clicked off the page there, folks. It really helps the bench there. Now, they've got Nick Nurse. They might do something in Philadelphia. The more I think about it, with Kelly Oubre is a good defender. Patrick Beverly can get down and defend with MB, Maxey, who's very young, D'Anthony Melton. So Batum's coming off the bench with Covington and Marcus Moore Sr. So they've got some defenders there. And Nick Nurse now, I want to say. So that's not a bad move for the 76ers. I really can't, though. But going back to the Clippers, okay, with Ty Lue there. But remember a guy named Mike Dunleavy. Dunleavy, the dad, Dunleavy. Listen to this Portland Trailblazer team from 2000, Pickles. Jermaine O'Neal, Scottie Pippen, 99-2000. Bonzi Wells can shoot the lights out. Rasheed Wallace, Steve Smith. Remember, he used to play with the Falcons back in them days. This team went 7 games with the Lakers in Game 7 with that Kobe Shaq first year with Phil Jackson. They were up 25 points. I was watching that with my dad, and I couldn't believe it. The Lakers come back 25 down. They go on and beat the Indiana Pacers led by Reggie Miller that year and went on to win the championship. And we know what happened after that. They went on a run. They went on like a dynasty-like run. But so essentially this team, Corey, this team with the Clippers has some, remember, because Scottie Pippen was past his prime there, okay? But they did have a young Bonzi Wells, all right? They had a pretty young Rasheed Wallace, who later won a ring, if you guys recall, had a fairly young O'Neal. You guys like Brian Grant was not a bad player on that team. Greg Anthony, that Greg Anthony was on this team. Detlef Schrempf was on this team. It wasn't this deep. This team has some players. Okay, you guys remember Sabonis? Great big old guy. Avita, his son is playing. He's the big man with the Kings right now. This guy had eyes, and Sabonis was a poor man's Joker. Not quite as good. But that team, you look at guys, Harden's won the MVP. I want to say Kawhi. I know Kawhi's won Finals MVP. Westbrook's won MVP. I mean, on paper, that of course they're past their prime, and if anybody can get them to play up to it, it'd be Ty Lue. Might like the coach Dunleavy that, like Coach Dunleavy did. Now that being said, I mean, how you going to monitor Harden and Westbrook's minutes? You cannot keep them on. And Harden said something that really looks bad for the Clippers. He had a comment and said something in regards to they tried to put me in the system. He says, I'm not a system player. I am a system. That you know what that tells me? That tells me that I'm ball-centric. Well, so Ty Lue, if anybody can do it, Phil Jackson in his heyday, Ty Lue got the best out of Westbrook last year. All right. And like I was saying earlier, last week when the season began, that what if Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are actually healthy in the playoffs? Because they've got a pretty good roster there. Added in PJ Tucker. Tucker's starting to get long in the tooth. But you got to get all them new moving pieces working together. I know that the Lakers got the best of them the other night. They snapped that losing streak. So that's going to be an interesting storyline to follow. It really is. And Pickle says he's a great big old guy, man. I mean, he was just big all over, Sabonis was. Really good passer. Wallace was not. He was not really, really good, talented player, just not a very good leader. Up one night, bound down the other. So, but Harden, Pickle says he thinks he's stuff. But if you look at it, and much as I like to pound Darren Moore because I think he's overrated, they got younger, they got more athletic, they got some trade leverage, and they got a better bench now. So we'll see how that plays out. And you've got to pace. You've got to pace Embiid better. You've got to find him. He can't blow it all out in the regular season. He's hurt every playoffs. But I mean, Boston beat Indiana by 51 points the other night. They ain't gonna beat Boston anyways, you know. And I know it's early. Milwaukee got handled. And my only other observation in the NBA at this time is that coaching staff has got to work in Lillard, and they've got to work in Lillard and Giannis together. They're going to have to get some more cohesiveness. Lillard's somewhat of a nice man's one-on-one player. He's more of a likable Harden and Westbrook, in a sense, with their ball-centric players. He's got to break that. I think he will. He's got a good attitude. But that's some early observations. They got blown out the other night. I think it was by Toronto or something. I can't remember. And I thought to myself, a couple of games before that Lillard was taking a lot of the shots down the stretch, and nobody was really – the ball wasn't – that's what coaches got to do. They've got to get that. I think they'll work that out, but that's something to think about. Yeah, Boston 151 points or something like that. 55. They beat Indiana by 51. They're the team that I thought the team to beat and going to continue to play well. Miami's already off on a rough start, kind of like what they were last year. Things are kind of settling in. Lakers look good, but, you know, they got some miles on them. How long can Davis and everybody hold up? Because I know you got Rowe, Hachimura, Austin Reeves, those guys playing really well. D'Angelo Russell finally showed up, had a good game. But we'll see how that thing plays out. But Morey's a little bit overrated. We'll see. It's not as bad for Philly when I first saw it as I'm looking at it now, because they did get younger and they've got some bench players. But it will be interesting to see Ty Lue manage Harden and Westbrook together like that and keep their minutes in line. Both of them are guys good for little small spurts, especially Westbrook. But Harden has, I am the system. Okay, I am the system. So if you guys like the show, share the show. Please share the show. We got to build this thing up, okay? I'll be back tomorrow with Carlos, Mad New Yorker, Chavez. And if you are available, I will be making an appearance on Spitballin' Sports, John, if you're there. 6:30 Eastern tomorrow for about 30 minutes. We'll talk a little NFL, college football. Love John and I forgot his co-host there. Got a great show. These guys up in Niagara area, Niagara Falls, Buffalo area. Talk some football with those guys on Spitballin' Sports. Good friend of the podcast. Be on there for a few minutes tomorrow. So have a good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, here on Sports Scope.